Title: In Her Eyes. Episode 5. The Confession Draft. The body was real. The headline was real. The past I'd buried under layers of fiction had clawed its way to the surface, and now it wore her face. Shreyasi found.it should have closed the book, but instead, it opened a new chapter. Written in blood and ash. Nia read the article over my shoulder again, lips moving silently. "This means she's dead," I said, like I needed someone to confirm it out loud. "She's been dead," Nia murmured. "You've just been keeping her alive in your guilt. I've been haunted by her." "No," she said, shaking her head. "You've been haunting yourself." I stayed off social media. My inbox flooded with press inquiries, gossip blogs, begging for comment, and one chilling message from an anonymous sender: "Truth sells, but blood sells more. You ready to bleed?" The blog had been pulled offline. My publisher was reviewing whether to sue me for defamation, claiming I had intentionally misrepresented a dead person for profit. They weren't entirely wrong. Nia suggested I do the one thing I'd never dared: write the truth, not wrapped in metaphor or mystery. A confession.so. I opened a new document. Blank. No stylization. No character names. Just raw, ugly honesty. Confession draft not for publication. Her name was Shreyasi Roy. She was the girl I loved, the one I hurt, the one I destroyed. I didn't just walk away after the crash. I ran. I panicked. I heard her calling me and I ran. I told myself I'd come back. I told myself she'd be fine. I told myself I didn't kill her, that it was an accident, that she'd understand. But the truth is, I didn't want to face what I'd done. When I woke from the coma, I saw an escape, a blank slate, and I took it. I turned our story into myth. I made her a muse because it was easier than calling her a person. She wasn't a character. She wasn't tragic. She was just Shreyasi, and I betrayed her. I never told the police she was with me. I never gave them her name. I told them I'd been alone. I made her disappear. I printed the draft. My fingers hovered over the final line. I left her, and I never went back. I signed my name underneath. Nia watched in silence. "That's it," she said. That's what she wanted. But something inside me twisted. It wasn't over. Not yet, because that night, I got a call. Unknown number. Static on the line. Then her voice: "You still haven't written the last chapter." I dropped the phone. "She's dead," I whispered. "She's dead." But Nia's face had gone pale. She picked up the phone. Ray dialed.it connected.no number. Just a location. Somerset Vale. Again, we returned before dawn. The fog was thicker this time, like the land didn't want us there. The same road, the same rusted sign. But this time, the crash site had changed. The debris was gone. In its place, a circle of blackened stones. A fire pit, and in the center, the locket. I reached down and picked it up. The photo inside had changed. It wasn't Shreyasi smiling anymore. It was me, eyes wide, mouth open, screaming, and on the back, a new line carved. In uneven script, one chapter left. "Come alone." I turned to Nia. "I have to finish this." "Alone?" She grabbed my wrist. "She wants you alone because that's how you're weakest. She wants the truth." "No," Nia said. "She wants you to feel everything she felt. Terror, silence, betrayal. She deserves that. No one deserves to be your redemption arc." But I went anyway, back into the woods, past the place where the trees grew too close, where time bent and memory blurred. And she was waiting. Shreyasi, or her echo, pale, barefoot, eyes burning with something more than life. She didn't speak. She just pointed to a tree, another carving. Write the ending or live it. I pulled the notebook from my coat, and I began to write. I don't remember falling asleep, but when I opened my eyes, morning had poured through the trees like forgiveness. The notebook rested in my lap, damp with dew, words smudged by the night air. I'd written it all. Not fiction, not revision, not poetry. Just the truth. Her name, the crash, my guilt, the silence, and how I'd run. The fire pit was cold now, the blackened stones wet with mist. Shreyasi was gone again, like she always was after these encounters if she had ever truly been there at all. But the air around me felt lighter, like she had taken something with her, or maybe returned something to me. I left the woods with a notebook pressed against my chest like a second heart. Back in the city, the noise hit me like a wave. Headlines screamed across my phone. Author confesses role in death. There were photos of me, of the crash site, of the notebook leaked somehow. The confession had found its way online. I was a villain, a liar, a fraud, but also oddly a truth teller. People were calling it the most honest piece of writing in a generation. They didn't understand. It wasn't meant for them. It was meant for her. Nia stood in my flat, scrolling through her phone. She looked up when I entered. You did it, she said softly. I nodded. They're going to cancel your contract. Sue you. Maybe worse. I nodded again. Was it worth it? I opened the notebook and turned to the final page. I showed her. The last line. She was the story, and I was just the footnote who tried to edit her. Nia looked at me. Then maybe it's time to start a new book. The months that followed were quiet. No more emails. No more red ink. No more knocks in the night or phone calls from the void. Shreyasi, it seemed, had rested. The body had been claimed. Her family, long estranged, ashamed by the disappearance, had laid her to rest. I wasn't invited to the funeral. I watched it online, an unlisted livestream someone leaked. I cried, not for me, for the girl who'd become a myth, a memory, a monster, and then finally, just a person again. I wrote a new book. It wasn't about her. It wasn't about me either. It was about grief, how it distorts, how it builds avatars out of absence, how the stories we tell are sometimes prisons and sometimes prayers. It didn't sell well, but it was real. Sometimes I visit the woods. The tree still has the carving. D+S = truth. The locket is gone. In its place, someone left a feather. White. Clean. Sometimes I wonder if she really haunted me, or if I built her from fragments, guilt, memory, love, and gave her voice because I couldn't bear silence. But then, just before I leave, I always hear it, a whisper on the wind, a laugh, not mocking, not angry, just free. And in that moment, I know we wrote the ending together, and it was enough. End of episode 5. End of book. In her eyes.